Welcome back everybody to another D&D Reddit story. This time featuring a very narcissistic person who believes they are better than Critical Role. I'm your host Ink, and let's get right into it. The characters are, not their actual names of course, Joey the streamer, the owner, and yours truly. Back in my college days, I used to frequent the LGS in my city to play Magic. One day, the owner approached me and asked if I was interested in playing a D&D homebrew mini-campaign meant for beginners. I agreed. The DM was a guy named Joey. At this point, I'd only played 3 sessions of Lost Mine of Phandelver, so there was a session 0 for character creation. I decided to play a Wood Elf Druid. We played session 1 a week later and it was alright, even though I thought it was kinda weird that he did all the narration while his fiancée did literally everything else. But hey, each to their own I guess. I couldn't make it to session 2 since I was busy with a few term papers and work, so I approached Joey about this. He assured me that his fiancée and their best friend would run the same campaign again next week. They also assured me that they were going to do D&D now every Wednesday. So the next Wednesday rolled around, no sight of the fiancé, her friend, or Joey for that matter. So I asked the owner if they cancelled, he just shrugged. I am telling this story because it is a red flag for later. I got really bummed out by that since I had a ton of fun playing D&D, so when my next paycheck rolled around, I decided to start DMing myself. I DM'd every Wednesday at the LGS until the pandemic hit. I met a lot of really cool people through that with whom I'm still friends with to this day, even after I moved across the country. Cut to a few months later, Joey started hanging out at the store again. He mostly did that on Wednesdays before my campaign. One day in summer, he announced that he was going to run a one-shot. The players were meant to be determined by chance. Weirdly enough though, 4 out of the 6 player spots were occupied by Joey's friends. The 5th one was the owner's daughter for some reason, so basically only 1 person got in by pure chance. It was supposed to be played with pre-written characters that were meant to be Disney princesses. As the store DM, I was invited to play, but I respectfully declined since I didn't get along with a few of Joey's friends. I didn't hate them, but they were the kind of people I didn't want to be at the same table with. One of them was a power gamer and always had a patronizing tone when speaking to you. Imagine the tone some people take when they explain something to a child, for example. After the one shot, which was definitely politically relevant because it had jokes about the MacGuffins being called Epstein and Weinstein, the owner's daughter approached Joey and said, "Well, that was fun. You should start streaming D&D." Joey and his fiancée were completely hooked on the idea. Joey wanted to be, you guessed it, the next Critical Role, so they asked the owner if they could use the store for streaming, to which he agreed to if they managed to get a test stream going. The owner got burned badly on something similar before, which led him to basically throw away $3,000. The problem with Joey, however, is that he is not a great DM. I had a few conversations with him about his D&D philosophy, which is basically, if you have a player that acts like crap, that means you haven't given them enough loot. So next time you have a shitty player at your table, enable them. But the true worst part was his world building. I will call his setting Joey's World. The actual name is the name of a French sci-fi comic series, but 1 letter is changed. Nothing from this setting was original in any sort of way. Usually I have no problem with that, but please bear with me. He stole a bunch of stuff from 5e books, including names. He had a country named Tet-Tira. Forgotten Realms has Tet-Tir, for example, which is literally Beauclair from The Witcher 3. There were also places like the Dune Desert and the Ice Mountains. Also, he combined some of the Eberron and Forgotten Realms into one first creation myth. Instead of Eberron and Kybor, it was Tiamat and Bahamut. He also thought it was brilliant that he put Phandalin in his world as the starting town, so Joey's world was basically as original as Sonichu. Joey and his fiancée then actually wrote a proof of concept and a business plan rolled into one. If you have a business, you know that this is a complicated thing. You have to write stuff like business expenses and such. Something like this would take you about 30-40 pages, I guess. According to the owner, it was written on 3 pages of a school notebook. By the way, they refused to show this to anyone but the owner. So according to the owner, the business plan had nothing about income or expenses on it, just short, mid and long-term goals for their project. So it was basically 1, start streaming, 2, question mark, 3, profit. Their concept was also interesting. They wanted to start something called a communal art project. So Joey wanted a bunch of minions who did literally all of his work. I know Critical Role has people working behind the scenes, but they get paid. So Joey just wanted to pay people in exposure. Mind you, the people in there were writers, translators, DMs, me included, and artists. All of these people were meant to do Joey's work while he gets to sit his ass down every Friday and just play the game and take credit for other people's work. And everything that was created in the project would also belong to him. This is where the trouble starts. First of all, Joey gets it in his head that he wants everything that goes on in the store to be under his control. Yes, everything. We had a few dudes who had their own YouTube to review the latest Warhammer stuff, and they were supposed to be a part of his network now. He wanted to own literally any piece of internet media that would be produced in the store. He called it the streaming monopoly. During all of this, Joey also started doing what he called a stream preparation campaign, which was basically meant as a prequel for the entire campaign. It featured an act of magical terrorism enacted by a group only consisting of Dragonborn. His idea was to portray a society of persecution and discrimination. Considering his DM style, this could have been insanely risky. They also gave each of the players strict character creation rules to prevent weird furry stuff, since this is a serious campaign that deals with serious topics. Also, his fiancée was going to be one of the players in the stream campaign. He told me how proud he was of her character concept, a half Asimov, half Tiefling assassin rogue. For him, it was an incredibly deep character concept since it was dualistic. This could have easily turned into another spousal fanfic horror story all by itself. My Wednesdays of LGS DMing were all supposed to be homebrewed and take place in Joey's world, because once we start streaming, I, as the store's DM, will be the public face of the streaming campaign. Dude legitimately thought that after we started streaming, people would go crazy and do something like Beatles Mania. He also wanted me to be his co-author, which I declined since I was still very busy with college, and I was glad that I noped out of there early. Mind you, at this point, he didn't have any of the necessary equipment to start streaming. That means no lighting, no sound, and more important, no cameras. The store also had a Discord where the Joey's World project was discussed. Joey started posting work requests on it, requesting the team of writers change the names of all the places in his setting. Right after that was done, he deleted everything that might hint at someone else being involved in the name creation. That's when they started seeing the first red flags. His Power Gamer friend was the first one to confront him about it. Joey just said, yeah, I deleted it because the work step is done. I don't want anyone to steal my setting before I can publish it in a book. And then the bickering started. The room the owner set aside for the stream was to be cleared out of old furniture. I helped away since again the owner is a good friend of mine. Joey said that he was going to be there with bells on. The only other person that showed up was the Power Gamer. I don't know all the details since I mostly prefer to stay out of drama, but at the end of 2019, Joey put the entire campaign on ice because of creative differences. Early 2020, Power Gamer dropped out of the project. Joey used this as an excuse to save face and also cancel the entire project. He claimed that Power Gamer was trying to sabotage the project because he didn't get to be a player on the stream. My theory, Joey must have realized that equipment is really expensive and preparing something like this takes a lot of time, which he didn't have since he also had to study for his final college exams. But he managed to throw Power Gamer under the bus, blaming the failure of the entire project on him alone. Power Gamer might have not been the nicest guy, but he didn't deserve that. This failed attempt at streaming destroyed a lot of friendships at the store and turned Joey into a laughingstock. Joey contacted me a few months later, also trying to pawn off his old group on me, with whom he also got into a fight with. He lovingly referred to them as a bunch of min-maxes. And I am just glad that my Wednesday group survived.